Hey guys, hello and welcome to the channel Programming with Casey. So today in this video we are going to start with the new concept that is constructor overloading, right? So we had seen the default constructor and the parameterized constructor. So in this video we are going to continue this with over here constructor overloading. So let us first create a class over here. Okay, so let's create class next and give the name as a constructor overloading example. Okay, so if you had not yet seen our last video, so you can go and see that too if your concepts are not clear in this case. Okay, so first was the default one, then was the parameterized one, and now you can see this if you had already watched. So okay, so you can see this also. So let us first print over here, just delete this line and rename this with the constructor overloading example. Okay, so we know that this is the method which has no return type. We have this data members with the id and name. These are the two attributes. We have the constructor overloading example with the default constructor. This is the parameterized constructor. Yes, so these are the some of the examples. So now what do we mean by the constructor overloading in this case? So constructor overloading is basically when you try to overload the same thing, right? When you try to overload the same thing, but there is some difference inside that, and the difference is like basically you have something additional in that case, something some of the attributes are extra or some of the attributes have been changed from the previous one. Okay, so now you can see that I have this two over here, like this is the ID and name. Let's say I want to add the one more attribute. So this actually provides you the flexibility in the program in the nearby future. If you have some project and you want to add some of the attributes over there. So let's say I want to add this attribute as a designation over there. So I will say this designation, or you can write anything like this is the name. So you can also write this subject over here, not the designation, because that should be the another example. Okay, so over here in this one constructor, parameterized constructor, I have only two attributes I had assigned over here with the id and name. So I will copy this and I will paste this over here. So this will give me the error, compile time error, saying that you have the duplicate method constructor overloading example. So why this is duplicate? So what we need to do to convert this into the constructor overloading? So I can write over here this as a string subject over here. What can I do? This is a string subject over. So it will remove all this problem. Okay, so I will say that this dot subject over here is equals to subject. Okay, so now I have three constructor. First one is the default one, second one is the parameterized with the two parameters, third one is also the parameterized with the three different parameters. Okay, so this is, I can say, the default one. Let's say the default is created over here. This is the student 2 is created over here. I will write the student 3 is created. Okay, so I had written in this way. Okay, so let's say I have this method which is calling this to basically id and name. This is going to print this one. Okay, and in this constructor I had just passed the default constructor over here. So let us just run this and observe what are we going to get in this console. Okay, so remember this, I had just initialized the object over here and I had called this over here. So what I am getting is the default is created. Okay, so it is calling the default constructor, totally fine. We know how it is calling the default constructor. After calling the method, it is giving me the 0 or null. Why? Because I had not passed any of the arguments inside this. Okay, so what can I do is I can create the multiple objects also to call the different constructors over here. Or what can I do is I can simply call this over here like 1 comma kc. So it will print now the student 2 is created. So let us observe the output, and with that parameters also. So yeah, student 2 is created and we got this 1 and kc. Why we got this 1 and kc? Because we have the id and name over here which is calling this. So we got this. But what will happen if I try to print the third parameter over here, like I will print or I will pass the argument, third argument over here in this case. So let us do that too. So I am saying that this is 1 kc and subject is, let's say, maths over here, and just run this and observe what will happen. So okay, so after seeing this, you will get this over here. Student 3 is created. It means that it is calling this constructor over here successfully. Okay, so but this is calling the c dot create student. This is the method which is called with the help of the constructor, and it is checking that you are getting this over here problem. Why? The operator plus is defined for the assignment type string. Okay, so this was the problem over here. So just remove that and print this again. So you will get this ID and name over here. But what about this maths? Why it has not get printed over here in the console? Because what you are doing is you are saying, you are calling this method, and inside this method you had not passed anything, right? So you have to pass anything over here, you have to call this, right? So this variables, so just call this and write the subject over here, so you will get the output also. Okay, so you will get this output now, and observe the output. So all the parameters are going to get printed over here. So 1 kcn maths, and this is the constructor, or student 3 is created. Now in this case I would like to create the one more like object over here. So I can't create the duplicate object, as you know. So I will do the c1 over here simply, and I will remove this, and let's call this with over here c1 dot create student. Okay, so c1 dot create student, saving this and running this, and observe this. Okay, so what you are getting, this student 2 is created, student 3 is created, the message present inside this constructor, and the method called after that, that is the c1. So what is doing c1 is calling all this over here, 1 kcn maths, and c dot create student, this is calling the method and 1 kc, and the third parameter is null because we had not provided the third parameter over here. So because id, name and subject, these are the 3 attributes, but only pass the 2 arguments for that, that's why it is giving the null over here. So what happens if I do, see, this is the c over here, right? What happens if I try to do over here, let's say this is the 1. Okay, so 1, and over here I am saying the kc. Okay, and I am trying to write some subject over here because yeah, so this is basically 1 kc, and what is our subject? So subject is, let's say, English over here. Okay, so why you are getting this problem over here? So you are getting this problem, the method create student in the type constructor overloading example is not applicable for the arguments int, string and string. Okay, so this is not applicable over here because you had only passed this 2 over here. Okay, so what if I write this for this one? Okay, so just remove this over here and write this over here. Okay, so over here you are getting problem that argument and string, so you have to remove this argument to match this, or you can change the method and add parameters over here. So over here doing this, what will happen, you have to pass over here some of the parameters to print these values, right? So you have to pass the sum of the parameters to print these values. Okay, so remember this, that when you are writing, actually when you are creating the method, without any parameter inside there, so you can't pass the values inside that method. If you are creating the method with the parameters, over here you can see that parameters, then you can pass the values, okay, or else you can't pass the value. Now if I remove this and I save this, you will get the error over here. So you can't pass the values over here, so remember this too. So we are actually going to cover in method concept also, so method overloading, method overriding, at the time of that also we are going to cover this. But remember this, you can't pass the arguments over here if you had not provided any parameters inside the method, okay. So I hope now it is clear to you guys that how we are performing the constructor overloading. So constructor overloading is the same name as a class name, but you need to pass some extra or the different parameters in the constructor so that you can overload that constructor, okay. So guys, that's it for this video. If you did like this video, then please make sure to like and subscribe our channel. So to learn more on the Java and programming languages which is related to OOPS. Okay. So yes guys, that's it for today. So we'll see you in the next video. So till that time, take care. Thank you and bye bye.